My son sent me to prison for his mistress. He put me in a cell like I was a monster. He thought that was the end of my story. He never expected my release. I sat on a hard bunk, staring at gray walls, and I kept asking myself one thing. How does a child do that to his own mother? Before I tell you how it happened, I want you to do something for me. Tell me in the comments where you're watching from. USA, UK, Canada, Africa, Asia. I want to see how far this story goes. And answer this honestly. If your own child sent you to prison for a crime you did not commit, and you finally got out, would you forgive them, or would you cut them off forever? Think about it, because by the end of my story you're going to have to decide what you would have done in my place. Stay with me until the end. My son never expected the choice I made when I finally walked out of those prison gates. My name is Nora. I am a mother before I am anything else. I had my son Evan when I was 19. His father walked out before Evan turned 2, so it was just me and my boy. We were poor. We were tired. But we were together. I worked days at a small store and nights cleaning offices. My back hurt all the time. My feet ached. I ate the leftovers people left behind. But I always made sure Evan had clean clothes and food in his stomach. When he was little, he would curl up on my lap, put his tiny hands on my cheeks and say, "It's you and me, Mom. Just us. Forever." If you're a parent, you know that feeling in your chest. Like your heart is too big and too soft at the same time. I thought, this boy will never hurt me. This boy will be my joy when I am old. I was wrong. So wrong. Evan grew up to be handsome. Dark hair. Light eyes. A smile that made people trust him right away. Teachers called him charming. Old ladies at church touched my arm and said, "He's going to break hearts one day, Nora." I would laugh and say, "Not mine." If only I had known. As a teen he was a little wild. He stayed out late. He lied about homework. He tried things he should not have tried. But he was never cruel. He was never violent. When I got called to school he would stand with his head down. "Sorry, Mom," he'd mumble. And on the ride home he'd lean his head against the car window and say, "You know I love you, right?" And I believed him. I still believe that the boy back then did love me. The man he became, I'm still not sure. When Evan was about 18 I finally bought us a tiny house. Not in a fancy place. Old paint. Creaky floorboards. Saintsig. But it was ours. I remember the day we got the keys. I stood in the empty kitchen and cried. Evan hugged me from behind. "We did it," he said. "You did it, Mom. I worked so hard for that house. Years of double shifts. Sacrifices no one saw. Sometimes I went to bed with just tea in my stomach so there would be enough for Evan to eat the next day. That home wasn't just wood and bricks. It was every sacrifice, every tear, every no, I had told myself. It was proof that our struggle meant something. I thought that house would be our safe place until I was old and gray. That house became the main tool used to destroy my life. Tell me in the comments. If you had worked 20 years for one small thing, would you risk it for a business idea? Or would you protect it at all cost? Evan did not want to go to college. "School is not for me," he said. "I want to work. I want to make money now so you don't have to kill yourself at those jobs anymore." Sounded kind. Sounded like love. So I did not push him. He got a job at a local auto shop. He was great with customers. He remembered names, stories, little details. In less than a year he was running the front office. He would come home smelling like oil and rubber, throw himself on the old couch and say, "One day, Mom, I'm going to own my own place. My own car lot. You'll never work again." I would smile and nod. "Just be careful," I'd tell him. "Fast money dies fast. Slow money lasts." He would roll his eyes and laugh. "You worry too much," he'd say. Maybe I did. But sometimes worrying is what keeps you alive. Then one day Evan brought someone home. I was at the stove stirring a pot of cheap soup when I heard the door. "Mom." Evan called out. "You home?" "Always," I said. "Come in." He walked into the kitchen with a woman by his side. She was striking. Long dark hair. Strong red lipstick. Nails shaped sharp, painted the same red. Her clothes were tight and clean and did not match our old, tired kitchen. Her eyes moved fast. They took in everything. The cracked counter. The chipped plates. The sag in the ceiling. She smiled big. "Hi, you must be Nora," she said, stepping forward like she'd known me for years. "I'm Kendra." Her perfume filled the room. Sweet but with a sharp edge to it. I wiped my hands and shook hers. Nice to meet you, Kendra, I said. Evan was glowing. Mom, this is my girlfriend, he said. We've been seeing each other for a while now. Kendra leaned in and hugged me. Her voice got soft. I've heard so much about you, she said. You raised a good man. I smiled because that is what mothers do when their child is happy. But inside, a small voice whispered. From the very start, something about Kendra felt off. Not fake. Not dumb. Just pointed. Like a pretty knife. She laughed a little too loud at small jokes. He touched Evan a lot when I was around. Small grabs. Little claims. She asked many questions. But not the kind of questions someone asks when they want to know you. Her questions were about things. How much did this house cost? Do you still owe money on it? Do you have any savings, Nora? Do you have life insurance? She said it all with a light voice and a bright smile. But I felt my body tense every time. Once she picked up a framed photo of Evan as a boy. "Ah, look at baby Evan," she said. "So cute." Her eyes stayed on the frame a little longer. "This house must mean a lot to you," she added. "It does," I said. She put the photo down and turned away. Her smile came back. Evan never saw those small moments. Love makes us blind. Sometimes it also makes us stupid. Evan started spending more nights at Kendra's apartment. Our dinners turned into fast visits. He would come by, grab food, kiss my cheek, and run back out. "We're planning things, Mom," he'd say. "Big things." I would look at his empty chair. The same chair that once held a small boy kicking his legs and asking for more potatoes. Now it sat empty. Have you ever watched someone you love drift away even while they are still alive? It's not a sudden pain. It's slow. Like a rope being pulled inch by inch out of your hands. You keep thinking, I can pull them back. It's not too far yet. And then one day your hands are empty. One Sunday, Evan came over alone. I could tell by his face something was coming. "Mom," he said, sitting down at the table. "I have news." I put down my dish towel and waited. "Kendra and I are moving in together," he said. The words dropped heavy in the air. "So soon?" I asked. "You haven't even been together a full year." He rolled his eyes. "I'm 25, Mom, not a kid. We love each other. We're building a future." I chose my words carefully. "Do you trust her?" I asked. His forehead creased. "Why would you say that?" he asked, his voice sharp. I swallowed. "She asks a lot about money," I said. "About the house. About what we own." He pushed his chair back a little. "She cares about our future," he snapped. "Why do you always assume the worst?" "I don't," I said softly. "I just want you to be careful. People can be tricky." He stood up. "I thought you'd be happy for me," he said. "I guess I was wrong." He walked out. The door closed behind him. I listened to his car drive away. In that quiet house I felt something shift. Like the first crack in glass. You don't see the break yet. But it has already started. A few weeks later, Evan came back with Kendra. They were excited. Too excited. Kendra had a folder in her hands. Evan's eyes were bright. They sat at the table like they were about to sign a big deal. "Mom," Evan said, "we finally have a chance." Kendra slid the folder toward me. "There's a small used car lot for sale," she said. "Right off the main road. Good traffic. Perfect spot. The owner is retiring. We want to buy it," Evan added. "We want to run it together." I opened the folder. Papers. Numbers. Photos of the lot. "How much?" I asked. 50,000, Kendra said. My throat closed a little. 50, I whispered. "Where would you get that kind of money?" "We tried the bank," Evan said. "But they want too much time. Too much proof. We could lose the chance." Kendra leaned forward. "That's when we realized," she said sweetly, "the answer might be right here." Her eyes flicked around the kitchen. At the walls. The old worn table. "The house," I said slowly. Evan smiled. "We can refinance," he said. "Use the house as collateral. Get the money for the down payment and first cars. We'll pay it back fast. The business will be great. And after that, no more 2 jobs for you. No more old coats. You can finally rest." He said it like he was giving me a gift. He did not understand that what he was asking me to risk was the gift. The only one I had left. What if it fails? I asked quietly. What if you have a bad year? What if someone cheats you? What if the market changes? Do you know how many small businesses go under? Kendra shrugged. Every business has risk, she said. But we have your son. He knows cars. He's great with people. This is how families move up, Nora. You take a chance. My heart beat in my ears. I need time to think, I said. Evan's jaw tightened. We don't have much time, he said. The seller wants an answer this month. A week, I said. Give me a week. He looked at Kendra. She gave him a small nod. Fine, he said. But please, Mom. Think about our future. Not just your fears. They left the folder on the table. When they were gone, I sat there alone. My fingers touched the papers. They felt dry and thin. Thought of the bank, the debt, the years of risk. I thought of my old back and tired bones. I thought of starting over at 60 if things went wrong. And I thought of that little boy who used to promise me forever. Tell me in the comments. If your grown child asked you to risk your only home for their big dream, and their partner pushed hard too, would you say yes or no? That night I walked through my small house. I touched the door frames. The worn spots on the floor. The little scuff on the wall where Evan had crashed his toy truck years ago. I opened the door to his old room. The wallpaper was faded. The bed was too small for the man he now was. But in my mind I saw him there again. On his back. Kicking his legs in the air. Laughing. I sat on the edge of the bed and whispered, "What should I do, baby?" Silence. But then inside my mind I heard his tiny voice from long ago. It's you and me, Mom. Just us. Just us. Not me, him, and some woman who looked at my house like a prize. I made my choice. I would not risk the house. I would find other ways to help. Smaller ones. Safer ones. I had no idea that saying no that week would lead to handcuffs and a prison gate. The next Sunday, Evan and Kendra came back. There was no warm small talk this time. No jokes. They sat. Evan leaned forward. Well, he asked. Did you decide? My hands folded on the table. I can't do it, I said. I'm sorry. I love you. I want you to win. But this house is all we have. If the business fails, we lose everything. Evan's face darkened. Why do you always think I'll fail? He asked. I don't, I said. I know how the world works. People lie. Contracts hide traps. You're good, but you're not a lawyer. You're not an expert yet. Kendra's voice cut in. Sounds like you don't believe in him at all, she said. Her tone was calm, but the words were knives. A real mother believes in her son, she added softly. Even when things are scary. I looked at her. I believe in my son, I said. I don't believe in rushing a deal with this much risk. I will help in other ways. But not with the house. Evan's chair scraped back. So that's how it is, he said. This old place matters more than my future? No, I said. Your future matters. That's why I'm trying to protect it. If this goes wrong, you'll be crushed. I would rather you grow slow and safe than fast and broken. Kendra stood up. She picked up the folder. Come on, she told Evan. We don't need this. We'll find someone who believes in us. She looked at me one last time. Her smile was gone. In its place was something flat and cold. We offered you a chance to be part of our success, she said. You passed. They left. The door slammed harder than before. A frame on the wall slipped and hung crooked. I didn't know it then, but that crooked frame was a picture of my whole life. Weeks went by. No calls. No visits. The house felt empty. I cooked too much food and then ate alone. Sometimes I packed up leftovers and put them in the fridge with a little note. For Evan if he stops by. Love, Mom. He never did. One Friday night close to midnight my phone rang. Calls that late are never good. I grabbed it with a shaking hand. Hello. On the other end I heard crying. Mom, Evan's voice broke. Mom, please. I need you. My chest tightened. Evan, what's wrong? Where are you? The hospital, he choked. It's Kendra. He collapsed. They say it's bad. They think it was poison. The word echoed in my head. Poison. I repeated. How? From what? He sniffed hard. She said your name, Mom, he whispered. Before she blacked out. She said, my knees felt weak. Me. I said, why would she? I'm coming. I'm coming now. I hung up, grabbed my coat and ran to my car. The ride to the hospital felt like hours. My mind spun. Poison. My name. Had she eaten something at my house? Had something gone bad in my fridge? Fear clawed at me. But I never imagined what would happen when I walked into that bright, sterile building. The hospital air was cold. Too clean. I rushed to the front desk. My son called, I said. His name is Evan Miller. His girlfriend is here. Kendra. She. The nurse nodded. Family is in the waiting area down that hall, she said. I followed the signs. I saw Evan sitting there. He looked broken. His eyes were red. His hair was a mess. His hands shook. I hurried over and held his face in my hands. What happened? I asked. He pulled away a little. They think it was something she ate, he said. Her organs, they're shutting down. They're trying to stop it. My heart pounded. What did she eat? I asked. Did she go to a restaurant? Did you cook? He cut me off. She ate the soup you brought, he said. The soup. I whispered. Yes, he said. The one you left on the doorstep this afternoon. Chicken soup. She heated it up. We sat on the couch. Halfway through she started feeling sick. She went pale. She said her chest hurt. Then she grabbed my arm and whispered, Your mother. And then she fell. My mind raced back. Yes. I had left soup. He had been sick that week with a fever. I could not reach them, so I made homemade soup and left it at their door with a note. Get well soon. Nora. I thought I was doing something kind. Now that kindness was being twisted. Evan, I said, my voice shaking. I would never hurt her. Never. You know that. Poison? I don't even. No. I barely know how to use bug spray. His jaw clenched. The doctors found something strange in her blood, he said. Toxin. They think it was added to her food. He looked at me like he was seeing me for the first time. Did you put something in that soup? He asked. The world went quiet. All I heard was the slow thump of my own heart. Evan, I whispered, look at me. I would rather die than hurt you, or anyone you love. I swear to you I did not do this. Before he could speak again, a voice came from behind me. Ma'am? Nora Miller. I turned. 2 police officers stood there. Yes. I said. We need you to come with us, one of them said. For what? I asked. We have some questions, he replied. He stepped closer and very gently took my elbow. I looked back at Evan. This was his moment. His chance to stand up. To tell them they were wrong. To say, this is my mother. She isn't like that. He looked at the floor. He said nothing. The silence between a mother and a son can sometimes be louder than any scream. They walked me out. In that moment I left 2 things behind. My son, and my old life. At the station they put me in a bright room. White walls. Metal table. 2 chairs. They asked me about the soup. Where I bought the food. What spices I used. What pans I cooked in. I told them as best I could. I used chicken, carrots, onion noodles, I said. Salt. Pepper. That's all. They looked at each other. One slid a plastic bag onto the table. Inside was a small glass jar with white powder. The label was gone. Is this yours? The officer asked. I frowned. I've never seen that in my life, I said. We found it under your kitchen sink, he said. Ice water ran through my veins. That's not possible, I whispered. I don't keep jars like that. You can check anything. Spices, sugar, flour. That's it. He raised an eyebrow. We'll test it, he said. But the doctor thinks the poison in Kendra's blood matches this kind of substance. He leaned forward. Did you put that in the soup, Nora? He asked again. My voice cracked. No, I said. I didn't. Please. I didn't. Hours passed. They left. They came back. They asked the same questions again and again. I stuck to the same answer. Truth. No. I did not hurt her. Finally they let me see Evan. He sat on a bench in the hallway, his back against the wall. He looked tired and lost. I walked over and sat down beside him. For a second I thought about reaching for his hand. But my hand stayed in my lap. Evan, I said softly, tell them I wouldn't do this. Please. He stared straight ahead. His jaw moved back and forth. I don't know what to think, he said. My soup. Your jars. Her saying your name. You telling me you didn't trust her. You refusing to help us. What am I supposed to think, Mom? You're supposed to think about the woman who raised you, I said. Who never even slapped you when you stayed out all night. Who worked until her hands bled so you could eat. You know me. You know what I am. He closed his eyes. I know you didn't like her, he whispered. You told me she was after our money. You told me she would hurt me. And then this happens. He stood up. The officers need my statement, he said. They want to know about our fights. About what you said about Kendra. I can't lie to them. My throat burned. What are you going to tell them? I asked. The truth, he said. That you didn't trust her. That you warned me. That you brought the soup. That they found that jar under your sink. What about my truth? I asked. That I am innocent? He hesitated. I don't know what that is anymore, he whispered. He walked away. I watched from a small window as he sat with an officer and talked. I saw his hands move. His mouth open and close. Every answer from his lips felt like another brick on my back. Remember this part. Because it matters later. My son chose to believe a woman he had known less than a year. Over the mother who had raised him for 25. Tell me in the comments. Could you ever do that? Believe a new lover over your own parent in a case this serious? The case moved faster than I thought it would. Kendra survived. But just barely. She told the police that I had hated her from day one. That I had threatened her. That I had said, if you take my son away from me, you'll pay for it. I had never said those exact words. But in court her voice did not shake. She cried when the jury looked at her. She held Evan's hand like she was a scared, gentle victim. I knew she never liked me, she said. I tried so hard. I really did. But she didn't want to share him. She told me her house was more important than our future. I knew she hated me. I just didn't think she would do this. My lawyer was a tired man in a cheap suit. A public defender. Too many files. Not enough time. He tried to poke holes. But every question he asked, the prosecutor patched up smoothly. They talked about the jar. Our argument over the house. Then they called Evan to the stand. I had not seen him in weeks. He walked past me without meeting my eyes. He sat down. He swore to tell the truth. Did your mother make soup for your partner that day? They asked him. Yes, he said. Did your mother often express dislike for your partner, Kendra? Yes. Did your mother refuse to help you and Kendra with a house loan for a shared future? Yes. Did you hear your mother say she did not trust Kendra and that Kendra would ruin your life? Yes. Did your partner say your mother's name before collapsing? He swallowed hard. Yes, he whispered. My lawyer stood up. Evan, he said, do you believe your mother is capable of trying to murder someone? The whole room went quiet. Evan's eyes dropped. I don't know what to believe anymore, he said. The jury saw a torn man. A heartbroken boyfriend. A son trapped between loyalty and fear. They did not see what I saw. My own child. Letting me drown. The judge spoke my sentence in a flat voice. 10 years in state prison for attempted murder. 10 years. At my age that was a lifetime. I felt the room spin. I looked at Evan. He kept his eyes on the table. Next to him Kendra watched me. For just a second, only a second, our eyes met. Her lips moved in the smallest smile. Not joy. Not kindness. Just satisfaction. Like someone who had finally cleared a piece off a game board. The guards came to take me away. As I passed by I stopped. I turned my head toward my son. Evan, I said. He did not look up. I think that hurt even more than the word guilty. If you're still here and listening, type I'm still here in the comments so I know you made it this far. Because what happens next is where everything starts to change. Prison is loud and quiet at the same time. Doors slam. Keys jingle. People shout. But inside your heart there is this deep, heavy silence. They took my clothes. My ring. My old coat. They gave me a number. They put me in a small cell with a thin mattress and a metal toilet. The first night I lay on my back and stared at the ceiling. I kept hearing Evan's words. I don't know what to believe. Over and over. My chest hurt so much I thought I might die right there. I didn't cry at first. Anger held the tears back. How dare they? How dare she? How dare he? But that night when the lights went low I turned my face to the wall and I broke. I sobbed into the thin pillow so no one would hear me. I cried for my lost house, my lost freedom, my lost son. In the dark I whispered, "Why God? Why my own child?" There was no answer, only the dull echo of my own voice. Days turned into weeks. I learned the routines. Wake up at 6. Roll call. Breakfast. Work duty. I ended up in the prison kitchen. I wore gloves. I stirred huge pots. I slid plastic trays along metal rails. The irony of it hit me. They said I was a poisoner. Now they trusted me with everyone's food. There were other women there. Hard faces. Soft faces. Some were mean. Some were kind. Some were both depending on the day. An older woman named Rosa sat with me one lunch. Her hair was gray. Her hands were rough. "What are you in for?" she asked, munching on dry bread. "Attempted murder," I said. I expected her to pull away. She just nodded. "Did you do it?" she asked. "No," I said. "My son's girlfriend set me up." He believed her. Rosa looked at me for a long time. "Your son put you in here?" she asked. "His words did," I said. She shook her head slowly. "That's a heavy cross," she said. I felt my eyes get wet. He touched my arm. "Listen," she said. "Prison will try to tell you who you are. Every day. Every rule. Every insult. Every look. You have to choose if you believe it. Or if you believe the story you had before all this." "I don't know who I am without my son," I whispered. She patted my arm. "Then maybe that's what you're here to learn," she said. "Who you are besides him." The first year, Evan wrote 2 letters. They were short. "Mom, I'm sorry it turned out like this. But I had to protect Kendra. I hope one day you'll understand." The second one was colder. "I heard you're telling people you're innocent. This has to stop. You have to accept what you did. It hurts me that you keep lying. I need space." After that, nothing. No calls. No visits. No more letters. Silence. Sometimes I would stand in the visiting room on line-up days and watch other women greet their families. Kids would run up and hug them. Men would bring small gifts. No one came for me. I told myself I was used to being alone. But there is a difference between being alone by choice and being abandoned. One day in the small prison library I saw a magazine. On the back page there was an ad for a local used car lot. "Family owned and trusted," it said in big letters. I frowned and looked closer. There he was. My son, Evan, standing in front of shiny used cars, holding a set of keys out toward the camera. His smile was bright. At the bottom it said, "Miller Motors. Owned by Evan Miller." The same last name printed on my prison ID badge. I stared at that page for a long time. He had gotten his dream. The car lot. The business. Maybe he finally used the house as collateral without me. Or maybe someone else helped. Either way, he had built his life on top of my ruins. Some nights back in my cell I thought about revenge. I imagined walking onto that lot one day as a free woman. I imagined telling every customer who he really was. "This is the man who sent his own mother to prison," I'd say. "Do you trust him with your money?" Those thoughts kept me warm when the cell was cold. But they also scared me. Because the more I held on to hate, the more I felt myself change. Less like the Nora who raised a boy with love. More like the monster they said I was. If you were in that cell, what would you do? Plan revenge? Or try to forgive and move on? Tell me in the comments. I really want to see what you would choose. Years passed. My hair started to gray. My hands shook a little when it was cold. New people came and went. One morning, about 6 years into my sentence, a guard called my name. "Miller, you've got a visit." My heart jumped. I smoothed my hair as best as I could. Maybe Evan had changed his mind. Maybe he wanted to see me. To ask for forgiveness. To say he was sorry. I walked into the visiting room, my heart pounding. I scanned the faces. There were kids. Old parents. Partners. But no Evan. Instead, a man in a dark suit stood up from a corner table. He looked like he had not slept much. Dark circles under his eyes. A worn briefcase at his side. "Mrs. Miller?" he asked. "Yes," I said slowly. He held out his hand. "I'm David," he said. "David Collins. I'm a lawyer. I'm not your lawyer, yet. But I've been looking at your case." "Pie case?" I asked. "Why?" He sat down and gestured for me to sit too. I did. He opened a folder. Because, he said, something about it does not add up. He slid a photo across the table. A woman in a hospital bed. Tubes in her arms. She almost died 3 years ago, he said. Poison. My stomach twisted. Is that Kendra? I asked. He shook his head. No, that's someone else. A different man's wife. He slid another paper toward me. This woman's husband hired me, he said. He thought his wife's friend was involved. We started digging. Cameras. Bank records. Phone logs. Someone else kept showing up in the background. He pulled out a small, grainy image from a building security camera. It showed a woman in the lobby near the mailboxes facing away. Red nails. Dark hair. A familiar tilt of the head. My breath caught. I knew that body language. I knew that hair. Is that... I couldn't finish my sentence. Does she look familiar? David asked. She looks like Kendra, I whispered. He nodded. We're almost sure it is, he said. She used a different last name then. But the face matches. The build matches. The timeline matches. He leaned forward. We ran her history, he said. Guess what else we found? I felt like I couldn't breathe. What? I whispered. Your case, he said. Same kind of poison. Same hospital. Same woman in the victim's life before it happened. Same pattern of money problems. Same rush for control. He tapped the folder. This is not random, he said. This is a pattern. A woman who gets with a man, goes after whatever stands in her way. An old wife, an old mother, and then tries to wipe them out. I stared at the table. My hands shook. I knew it. I finally breathed. I knew she was dangerous. I couldn't prove it. He nodded slowly. Well, he said, "Tao we can." Hope is a strange thing. When you have gone years without it, feels heavy when it finally comes back. Why are you telling me this? I asked. What does it mean for me? He sat up a little straighter. It means, he said, that I think we can get you out of here. The words hit me like a wave. Of here. I had dreamed those words in my sleep, but I had stopped believing them when I was awake. I've already started the process, he went on. I filed to reopen your case. The new evidence from this other victim's family is strong. The prosecutor had no idea the same woman might be linked to 2 poisonings. Now they know. He pulled out another paper. Kendra has been arrested in the other case, he said. She's under investigation. Once the court sees the pattern, it will be very hard for them to keep pretending you were just some jealous, bitter mother who snapped. I covered my mouth with my hand. Tears burned my eyes. Are you sure? I whispered. He shrugged honest. Nothing is ever sure, he said. But this is good. Very good. Better than most people ever get. I blinked hard. What about my son? I asked quietly. Does he know? David sighed. I went to see him, he said. At his car lot. My heart raced. And? I asked. He's still there. Miller Motors. He has a little girl now. About 4 years old. Your granddaughter. For a second the room spun. I had a granddaughter. A child with my blood in her veins. A little girl who had never even heard my name. Did you tell him? I asked. I told him I was working on your case, David said. That there was new evidence about Kendra. That she might not be what he thought. I leaned in. What did he say? I asked. David looked me in the eyes. He told me not to come back, he said. He said you were dangerous. He said Kendra told him you would try something like this. Try to twist things, try to make yourself the victim. He said he stood by what he said in court. I felt something break again inside me. Even with proof growing. Even with Kendra under a dark cloud. He still chose her. David's voice softened. I know that hurts, he said. I can't fix that part. But I can fight for your freedom. And I will. I nodded slowly. Do it, I whispered. Please. In that moment something formed inside me. Not just hope. A new kind of strength. If I ever got out I would not crawl. I would walk out with my head up. Not for him. For me. The legal fight took time. Papers. Hearings. Reviews. I waited in my cell day after day. Other women came up to me. Hey Nora, I saw that story on the news. one of them said. That woman, Kendra. She's in trouble now, huh? On the small TV bolted to the wall in the common room, I finally saw Kendra's face again. This time it was a mugshot. No lipstick. No pretty dress. Just tired eyes and a harsh light. The words under her picture said, "Local woman arrested in second poisoning case. Previous case reopened." I watched her image on that screen. I thought of the way she'd smiled in court. The way she had hugged me that first day. The way she had touched my son's arm. Rage rose up. But under the rage there was something else. Relief. Not because she was suffering, but because the world was finally seeing what I had known. She was not a victim. She was a hunter. One gray morning a guard came again. "Miller," she called. "Pack your stuff. You're going downtown." My heart stopped. "Downtown?" I asked. "Court wants you," she said. My hands shook as I gathered my few things. A worn Bible. A sweater. A photo of Evan when he was 5. I held that picture longer than I meant to. The little boy smiled up at me. No anger. No betrayal. Just joy. "I'm coming out," I whispered to that paper face. "With or without you." They handcuffed me and put me in a van. The city looked the same and different at the same time. Shops had changed. Signs were new. But the courthouse was the same. The same tall steps. The same big doors. I walked in again, but this time I felt different. Not like a scared woman about to be crushed. More like a storm that had finally found a crack in the sky. The hearing was short compared to the first trial. David spoke. He showed the judge and the prosecutor the video of Kendra in that other building. He showed the hospital records, the lab tests, the matching toxins. He showed how Kendra had used 2 different last names. How she had moved from man to man. How trouble seemed to follow her. The other victim's husband spoke with pain in his voice. "My wife almost died," he said. And this same woman was there, smiling, acting like a friend. Just like she did with that other family. The judge looked at the papers. At me. At the lawyers. He took a deep breath. "Nora Miller," he said, "in light of this new evidence and the clear pattern of behavior by the other party, this court is vacating your conviction. You are hereby released." For a second I did not move. The words did not feel real. Released. Free. A guard touched my shoulder. "Stand up, Nora," she whispered. I did. The chain on my ankles clinked as they opened it. My wrists felt light as the cuffs came off. I looked around the room. There was no jury. No crowd this time. No Evan. Just a judge, 2 lawyers, a clerk, and a guard. I walked toward the exit. Every step felt strange. Like walking on a ship after years on the bottom of the sea. Outside, the air hit my face. Open air. No fence. No barbed wire. I tipped my head back and closed my eyes. I was free. My son had sent me to prison for his mistress. He never thought I'd come out. But I had. Now I had to decide. What would I do with my freedom? Let me pause here and ask you. If you walked out of that courthouse after almost 7 years you did not deserve, would you go straight to your child and hug them? Would you scream in their face? Would you go to the news and tell everyone what they did? Would you disappear and start a new life far away? Tell me in the comments what you think you would have done. Because what I did surprised even me. David walked down the steps beside me. "Do you have somewhere to stay?" he asked. I nodded. "The house," I said. "If they didn't take it." "We checked," he said. "You still own it. You were in prison so you weren't paying much, but a charity stepped in to help with some of your back taxes. Your house is old, but it's still standing." Tears filled my eyes again. My house. Still there. "Thank you," I whispered. He smiled. "Don't thank me yet," he said. "You still have to go home and see what life looks like now." He paused. "You also have to decide what to do about Evan." "I know," I said. He put a hand in his pocket. "There's something else," he added. "Kendra is trying to make a deal. She's offering information in exchange for a lower sentence. If she talks about your case, if she admits what she did, Evan might finally see who she really is." I let out a slow breath. "Maybe," I said. "Or maybe he'll say she's lying now. That she's just saying whatever to save herself." David nodded sadly. "I'm sorry he didn't show up today," he said. I looked out at the street. Cars passed. People walked. Life moved on. "He already showed me who he is," I said quietly. That's enough for now. I went home. The neighborhood had changed a little. Some houses looked nicer. Some worse. My house was still old. Still cracked. But when I put the key in the lock and the door opened, it felt like stepping into a memory and a dream at the same time. Dust floated in the air. The couch was covered with a sheet. The kitchen was quiet. I walked from room to room, touching each wall. I paused in Evan's old bedroom. The little bed. The faded bedspread. I'm back, I whispered. I slept there that first night, curled up on that too small bed, holding his old pillow against my chest. In the dark I thought about him. About Kendra. About the car lot. About my granddaughter I had never met. I had been given back my freedom. But the question that kept me awake was, did I want my son back? The next morning I woke up with a plan. Not a plan for revenge. A plan for truth. David had told me where the car lot was. Main road, east side of town, he'd said. You can't miss it. I got dressed in the simplest clothes I had. No makeup. No special hair. Just me. On the bus ride there my hands would not stop shaking. What if he yelled? What if he called the police? What if he turned his back again? What if he cried? My stomach twisted at that thought. I didn't know if I was ready to see my son cry. I wasn't sure I'd survive it. Miller Motors looked almost like it did in the ad. A line of used cars. Bright flags. A big sign with our last name on it. There was a small office building with big windows. I stood across the street for a full 5 minutes watching. A man came out of the office. He had a little girl with him. She was around 4. Tiny ponytail. Big eyes like Evan's. She held his hand. He bent down and fixed her shoe. He smiled at her with a softness I recognized. She laughed and ran in a small circle. My heart clenched. My granddaughter. I pressed my hand to my mouth. Evan was older now. A little thicker in the waist. Lines around his eyes. He looked tired. He picked the girl up and kissed her cheek. Come on, Lily, he said. Time for lunch. So her name was Lily. My Lily. They went back inside. I stood there, frozen on the sidewalk. This was the life he had built. A business. A child. No sign of Kendra. Was she already behind bars? I didn't know yet. But I knew I could not just stand there all day. Sooner or later he would see me. And that moment would change everything. I crossed the street. My feet felt heavy. Like each step was through thick mud. I reached the office door. My hand hovered over the handle. For a second I thought about walking away. About turning around, going back to my tiny house and living a quiet life far from all of this. I could start over somewhere else. In another town. With people who did not know my story. But then I thought of something Rosa had said in prison. At some point you have to walk through the fire that burned you, she had told me. Otherwise you're always running from the smoke. I took a deep breath. I opened the door. A bell over the door rang as I stepped inside. The office smelled like coffee and car freshener. There was a desk with papers, a computer, a stack of brochures. Behind the desk, Evan stood, holding Lily on his hip. He looked up. For a second he just stared. His brain seemed to freeze. Then his mouth opened. Mom, he whispered. Lily turned her head to look at me. She studied my face with curious eyes. I felt like I might fall. Yes, I said. It's me. Silence hung between us. You could almost hear it. Evan set Lily down slowly. Sweetheart, he said in a strange voice, go play in the back room for a minute, okay? Okay, Daddy, she chirped. She ran through a small doorway that led to a side office. We were alone. Just him. And me. For the first time in almost 7 years. Up close I could see everything. The lines on his forehead. The stubble on his jaw. The small scar under his eye from when he fell off his bike at 8. He looked older. So did I. Mom, he said again like he was testing the word. I nodded. I got out, I said. They found out the truth about Kendra. His face changed. Pain, fear, shame. All of it flashed through his eyes. I know, he said quietly. You know. I repeated. He swallowed. I saw it on the news, he said. And they called me. The investigators. They told me she had done it before. Or tried. They asked me questions. They told me the court was going to reopen your case. He looked down at his hands. I wanted to come to the hearing, he said softly. I didn't. I couldn't. I was a coward. The word hung there. A coward. He had given himself the name I had been too scared to say. I stared at him. So you knew, I said, and you still did not come. He winced. I was ashamed, he whispered. Mom, I sent you to prison. I helped them. How do I stand in front of you after that? You don't, I said, my voice tight. You don't stand in front of me. You run. Like you did. He closed his eyes. A tear slid down his cheek. I deserve that, he said. All of it. I took a slow breath. The anger in me was a deep, dark well. But there was something else floating on top of it. Exhaustion. Pure bone-deep exhaustion. I did not come here to hit you, I said. I did not come here to scream. I came to look you in the eyes and hear what you had to say. For once with no judge. No lawyers. Just us. He looked up. Our eyes met. I'm sorry, he said. Those 2 words. I had pictured them so many ways. I had imagined him kneeling. Begging. I had imagined dramatic music lightening some big moment. But in real life it was just a simple sentence in a quiet office. I'm sorry. His voice cracked. I was stupid, he said. I was blind. I was in love with her. I wanted the car lot. I wanted the dream. And when she said you were trying to poison her, I believed her. Because it fit this story in my head. This story where you were jealous and holding me back. He laughed bitterly. Then she cheated on me, he said. With someone from the bank. And then I found out about the other husband. The other poisoning. It all crashed down. He ran a hand over his face. I have been living with this weight every day, he said. Waking up and remembering that my mother is in prison because I helped put her there. Watching Lily grow and thinking, what kind of man does that to his own mom? What if she finds out? What will she think of me? He took a step closer. I don't expect you to forgive me, he said. I don't. I just need you to know. I know I was wrong. I know you are innocent. And I hate myself for not seeing it sooner. Tears ran down his cheeks now. He was not the smooth, charming man from the car ad. He looked like a little boy again. Lost. Feared. My heart twisted. But then I remembered. The nights on the prison bed. The years in that cell. The emptiness. I believed you when you said forever as a child, I said. I believed you when you said you loved me. When you said you'd take care of me when I was old. And when the time came to choose, you chose her. He flinched at the last word. I know, he whispered. You did not just doubt me, I went on. You helped them put me away. You let them paint me as a jealous old woman who wanted to kill your girlfriend. You sat there and you said yes to every question that hurt me. I know, he whispered again like a broken record. I swallowed hard. If David had not come, I said. If that other woman had not almost died, I would still be in that cell. Maybe I would die there. Thinking my own son believed I was a monster. The room was very quiet. The only sound was the faint murmur of Lily's voice singing to herself in the other room. Can I do anything? Evan finally asked. To fix this. His eyes were desperate. He wanted a clear answer. A simple way to wipe the slate clean. I almost wished I could give him one. But this was not a broken plate he could glue back. This was years of my life. You can't give me back my time, I said. You can't give me back my 20s, 30s, 40s. You can't give me back the nights I cried in a hard bed wishing I was dead. He swallowed a sob. I know, he said. But, I added, surprising even myself with the word, you can tell the truth. To everyone. About what happened. About what you did. You can stop pretending you were a victim in this. You can say, my mother went to prison because I believed a liar and I was too proud to question it. He nodded fast. I will, he said. I already started. I told Lily's teachers. I told my friends. I told the guy who does the books for the business. I tell anyone who asks. I'm the one who was wrong. He took a breath. I want to do more, he said. I want to take care of you now. I want you to move in with us. I want Lily to know her grandma. I want to spend the rest of my life trying to make this right. The words hit me like a wave. Move in with us. Live under the same roof with the boy. Know the man who sent me away. Be grandma like nothing had happened. Part of me wanted it. So much. I wanted mornings with Lily. I wanted holidays. Laughter. A family. Another part of me was tired of living my life for someone else's needs. I had given my youth to Evan. My money. My health. Then I had given my freedom to his mistake. What did I owe him now? I walked to the window and looked out at the cars lined up in the lot. They shone in the light. Clean. Promising. Like the life he had bought with my suffering. You asked if you can fix this, I said quietly, my back to him. Yes, he said, voice shaking. You can't, I said. Not fully. I turned around. But you can accept the consequences of what you did. Not just the legal ones. The personal ones. He frowned, confused. What do you mean? He asked. I mean, I said slowly, I forgive you, because if I don't, this anger will eat me alive. I will die bitter. And I refuse to let you or Kendra or anyone else own my soul like that. His eyes widened. Forgive me, he whispered. Yes, I said. I forgive you. Relief and grief flooded his face at the same time. He took a step forward like he wanted to hug me. I held up a hand. But, I said, forgiveness is not the same as forgetting. And it is not the same as inviting you back into my heart the same way as before. I am not the same woman you left in that courtroom. Prison changed me. Pain changed me. I need time. I need space. I need to learn who I am without being just Evan's mom. He froze. So, what does that mean? He asked. It means, I said, I am not moving in with you. Not now. Maybe not ever. It means we will go slow. Very slow. You will come to my house sometimes. You will help me fix it up. We will talk. We will see if trust can grow again. Not big, grand promises. Just small, daily truths. I took a breath. And it means, I added, that I want to know my granddaughter. If her father agrees. If he understands that I will not lie to her about where I've been. I won't tell her I was on some trip. I will say, Grandma was in prison because people made a terrible mistake. When she's old enough to understand, I will tell her more. I will tell her the truth. All of it. He nodded, tears falling freely now. You have that right, he said. I won't stop you. I looked toward the back room. Can I see her? I asked. He wiped his face. Yes, he said. I think she should meet you. He called out softly. Lily, come here, honey. He came running, tiny shoes tapping on the floor. Her eyes went from him to me. Who is that? She asked. He knelt beside her. That's... He hesitated. He looked up at me, asking without words what he should say. I gave a small nod. That's your grandma, he finished. Bye, Mom. Lily's eyes lit up. I have a grandma? She asked. Yes, he said, voice thick. You do. She walked right over to me with childish boldness. She looked up at my face, studying it. You look like Daddy, she said. I let out a shaky laugh. So do you, I said. Are you going to hug me? She asked suddenly. I choked on a sob. If you want, I whispered. She stepped forward and wrapped her tiny arms around my waist. I bent down and held her like she was made of glass and gold at the same time. Her hair smelled like soap and crayons. In that moment, something inside me softened. Not for Evan. Not for Kendra. For her. For a little girl who had done nothing wrong. A little girl who might one day ask hard questions. I decided then that whatever I did next, I would not pass my hate on to her. The chain of pain would stop with me. Later, as I walked home, the sky wide above me, I thought about everything. About the girl who had tricked my son. About the boy who had failed me. About the years I had lost. About the years I still had left. Forgiveness did not feel like a bright light or a warm blanket. It felt like letting go of a heavy stone I had carried too long. My son had sent me to prison for his mistress. He had let me rot there for years. He had built his car lot. His family. His life. He had never expected my release. But here I was. I did not go back to the past version of our story. I did not let him decide who I was. I chose something harder. I forgave him, but I did not give him back the power to break me. That power now belonged to me. If you are still here at the end of this story, I want to ask you, would you have forgiven your son in my place? Would you have walked away forever? Would you have moved in with him and tried to act like nothing happened? Tell me in the comments. Also tell me where you watched from. I want to see how far this story travels. And if you want more stories like this, real, raw, emotional stories you can listen to while you work or rest, you know what to do. Thank you for listening to my story. My name is Nora. I am not just someone who went to prison. I am a mother. I am a survivor. And I am finally free.